let me start with this point. Do you know what's the importance of MSME in the contribution of employment?
Presently, MSME is the most important sector for the country. I say it is the backbone of Indian economy. In Indian growth, GDP, 30% contribution of MSME is there. As far as the export is concerned, it is 48% from MSME. And up till now, 11 crore jobs which already created by MSME.
Like if you see the recent report from McKinsey Global Institute, MSME alone contributes 62% of employment rate in India. And okay, so that's fine. So MSME was providing 62% of employment rate, and remaining 38% was actually providing from the large cap companies. Okay, that's fine. So what happened with the unemployment rate here? Well, post pandemic, these MSME got hit because of low revenue, no sales. There is no purchase power for the people to purchase these things, and plenty of MSMEs was actually shut down and they filed bankruptcy. So now if the MSME is not providing that 60% of employment rate, now the people are actually competing for the remaining 40% of employment today. Now you and everyone actually competing with 40% of remaining employment rate in India. If you see the MSME having different sectors. So you can have a manufacturing facility, you can the MSMEs have a service, professional service based companies, MSMEs have ICF companies. There are plenty of companies who are actually registered under MSME. The MSME got shut down, the employees were laid off, right? So these employees were actually industrial professionals. Okay, so they have some exposure, they have some experience. So now if you see this remaining 40% of employment other than MSME, these employees who are actually laid off from these MSMEs got a 25% share in this 40% employment, and remaining 15% was actually out for the freshers and students from the colleges. Okay, so if this is very, very clear for you, we'll jump into the unemployment rate, how it actually looks like.
Now let's talk about jobs. Have you tried to appear for a job interview recently?
Is India's economic boom helping create enough jobs for its youth?
A Bloomberg report shows the economic boom isn't producing enough high-quality jobs to accommodate the millions of Indians joining the labor market annually.
Recently there is an opening from an Indigo company, so where they were actually hiring for peons. Okay, so peons, they are the people who take the boxes and keeping it somewhere and moving like that. Okay, if you see for that particular role, the people were actually flooded for that role. This is how the unemployment rate was actually looking in our country. Why this was happening? If you look at our population, we have plenty of population. We are the most populous country in this world, right? So if you see the statistics, so how many engineering students would actually graduate from the college? So every year 1.5 million engineering graduates was actually coming out from the colleges, and some of them were actually placing in the college itself, and other people was coming out and they were doing things like they were forced to be a labor. Okay, so now this unemployment rate is anyway not going down until or unless the MSME come into the place. Government is also pushing their boundaries, so even they were trying to push this MSME, and they know what's the importance of this MSMEs. Okay, and if you see the Nirmala Sitharaman, our financial minister, she also spoke about this MSME development.
MSME not merely as a sector of risk, but as a sector of brimming opportunities, what has got to be on the top of the table for public sector banks. Banks should target lending, I said, 1.54 lakh crores more this year than the usual business as usual limit of 4.21 lakh crores. But banks next year for 25-26 should target lending of 6.12 lakh crores and 7 lakh crores for 26-27 for the MSMEs.
Okay, keep aside of MSME. If this was very clear to you, let's jump into the second aspect, which was actually affecting the unemployment rate. Even MSME doesn't exist. This particular thing, the educational system, is even more problem for our India. If you look at our previous education curriculum in 2005 to 2010 or 2010 to 2014, the same curriculum was actually teaching in the colleges till now. If you are a computer science graduate, the same curriculum, the same Java, the same Python, whatever the curriculum is, it was proceeding till date in our colleges. There is nothing changed. Even if I see the recent college syllabus curriculum, I saw the Java which they were using like around 9 years of old version in the computers and also in the material they're explaining. See, our education system is very laggy. And the second thing in our educational system is, so Indian education system is more of a theoretical based education. That means we force our students to read this and we need to gain knowledge based on our readings and things like that. We don't have this practical knowledge. If you see other countries like US or UK, like even if you see the students at that time, they won't even spend much time in the colleges. They were like making the part-time jobs, or they were working on the projects directly, so things like that. But if you see in India, so we need to go every single day to the college, every single hour to hour, every single day, even sometimes on weekends, and we just practice the theory, which doesn't even give us the skills. Education system doesn't provide the moderate skills for the students in our country. In this rapidly growing phase, the sectors like healthcare, IT, and fintech sectors, they were actually expecting a very high quality students. Why? Because they need to develop the quality product. That means they need a quality candidate who is having the same skill set. But in our country, we are lack of skills. Even today, so many people, they learn that technology, Python is good, Java is good. No, so they need to go with the trending technologies. Our country never goes with the trending technologies. Even the college doesn't try to teach them the trending technologies. And college also not send the students for the part-time time, because attendance is mandatory in our college, right? So we don't have a exposure from different companies. So if we don't have a good experience or practical knowledge on something, we are considered as unfit. If you see this rate, 45% of freshers were not employable in India. That means 55% was actually employable, and that too, that 55% was actually hired from IITs and IIMs from the country. And even if you see the recent rate from IITs, the placements was dropped nearly 40%. Like 40% was actually not hired in any company. Only 60% got placed in different companies. That means even in IIT, you don't have that probability to get a job. So if you see the big companies, large cap companies, as we mentioned before, the 40% of employment, those companies was actually hire IITians first, and then they go to the remaining companies, which lead the remaining colleges need to have these BPO jobs or sales jobs, or which are not even related to their core side. Okay, so now if you improve your skill set properly, and if you go on an exposure, and if you have an experience on something, you might consider onto a job. But if you see the unemployment rate from 2020, so 2020 the unemployment rate is almost equivalent to 24.7%, and today it was dropped to 15.4%. Now that was nearly a 6% drop. So the employment is back, I guess, in 2023 and 2024, the employment is actually back.
The positive indicator for India's economy, the urban unemployment rate in the September quarter has declined to a fresh low of 6.4%. The share of salaried workers has also increased to 49.4%, while the share of casual workers has declined to 10.7% during the quarter.
India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman says that unemployment rate has come down from 6% in 2017-18 to 3.2% this year.
Unemployment rate was 6% in 2017-18. Today it has come down to 3.2%. The female labor force participation rate has been on the rise for the past 6 years, from 24.5% in 2018-19 to 41.7% in 23-24.
Why? Because in 23 and 24, some of the companies, like some of the MSMEs we can consider, they was actually make a comeback, and even the large caps, they were having even government pushing them to offer internships to increase the job opportunities and things like that. In 23-24, the employment rate was actually good in India. Even the recent times, our financial minister Nirmala Sitharaman, she also mentioned about this. Okay, so the raise in employment rate, but there is only one fear we have. Even the unemployment rate was going down and employment rate was increasing. See, the 40% of people, they were forced to be a labor. That means they were not actually working in their dream role or dream place. They were working for money. Even the wages, if you see the payouts for these people, that was less than 15,000 a month, which was not even enough for an average person in India to run his entire family. Okay, so the employment rate was increasing, but not in a good phase. Okay, so here, even in this phase, we have one more trouble here, the AI.
Every year, India produces 1.5 million engineers, 1.5 million. But do you know how many can build a core AI product? Just about 2,000. Imagine that. Artificial intelligence is the future. According to the International Monetary Fund, AI will affect 40% of all jobs in the future, 40%. And the world seems unprepared for it. And so are India's engineers.
But while AI jobs are in demand, what about other jobs? Is artificial intelligence going to replace them?
If you see, AI jobs are actually in demand. We know that AI and machine learning, AI and data science, there are plenty of roles which were actually in demand. And report from International Monetary Fund, AI can impact 300 million jobs in coming days. And also, IMF says 40% of global jobs were actually affected due to AI. And in Europe, if you know that 68% of people, they were actually having fear of AI taking over their jobs. Nearly 40% of all engineers, whatever they're working today, might be automated with AI in future, which is also a scary thing. From 2023 skills report, the 45% candidates were actually not employable. That means engineers, 45% of engineers were not employable in based on their skills. Here, this AI is not only affecting engineers but also some other sectors. What are the sectors? So there are legal assistants, market research analysts, translators, customer services, and lot more. This AI is going to affect these jobs. People who are actually paid low salaries or low payouts, their jobs were actually replaced by this AI because the automation was going to happen and it was rapidly increasing because of this AI. But don't worry, AI also gives you plenty more jobs as well. But we don't know how the job market looks like in future. So it might give very new jobs and even more packages. It might be because we completely don't know how this job market works after AI takes the revolution, right? So don't worry about that. Now, how we are going to survive this situation? So if you see, the government was pushing from them side, so to improve this MSME and their fundings and things. Usually government gives some loans to the MSMEs. Okay, so they're trying their best to improve this one. And the second thing, we need to concentrate on our skill set, not on our theoretical knowledge. We need to focus on our skill set. We need to develop our skills. Okay, students need to develop this. And 3, education system. So in our India, so even a government is trying to get our education 2.0, which was actually changing the curriculum of our educational system. Even I saw the recent one of the colleges from Chandigarh University, they have the very trending streams in their college, like in computer science engineering, they have only 2 streams which are actually in trending right now. So in that way, the education system is actually getting some improvements. Okay, so even we need to follow the same. And the third thing, even if the AI revolution came to the picture, we can survive with our intelligence, and there are some plenty of jobs was going to make. Okay, so AI is going to give at least nowhere between 40 million jobs anyway, right? So we need to have that knowledge first. Okay, so don't worry about that. And like I'm going in detailed about how to survive in this situation and how you can get the job in this situation in the part 2. If you want that, please subscribe. And I also released one more video here if you want to see. So how you can actually schedule and learn some things on trending technologies, which can help you to place in a company. Thank you guys.